All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of.
What is an episode of?
Wait
a minute. Oh, you have squads.
Mine looks backwards. Is yours backwards?
No, that's not yours on backwards, too. It's all right down here, and there's a lot less up. Yeah.
Ta-da!
I knew that this was a new episode, but it's having an episode at the time. Having one of my episodes. Anyway, this is Two Half Squads, the one and only podcast dedicated pretty much, as you know, if you've listened before, pretty much. Greatest game of the world. What game is that, Dave?
Why, that's Advanced Squad. And this show is brought to you by Bounding Fire Productions, makers of Into the Rubble, Corregidor the Rock, and Operation Neptune.
And more.
Many more.
And I'm taking away the bell because it's too high tech. I'm trying to go more low tech, so I'll just clap softly for Bounding Fire Productions. They are the best. Go to boundingfireproductions.com. Look at all their stuff. You're going to probably spend an hour there just looking at the stuff and drooling. But then go ahead and pull the trigger, as they say. Buy something.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them the Two Half Squad sent you, and then go have something nice to drink. You'll feel good.
Indeed.
Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So what you been up to, Jeff?
Well, not too much. It's been very gray here in Chicago. The weather's weird. I don't want to get into a whole thing about climate change and the end of the world. This show is not about that.
But this is also just kind of the normal gray.
Well, it's kind of a
March.
Weird spring. Now, it's May, Dave. It's
April passed.
Last year was the driest spring in Chicago since 1937. This year is one of the wettest springs we've had since I don't know when. I can't remember the date, but can't make up its mind. I'd rather have the water though. Fresh water is good.
I got grass seed down in the fall and again 3 weeks ago.
Oh, good.
And it's been coming up nice. So
yeah. So we've been staying in at night. We'd like to get out a little bit in the evenings and take a walk and stuff, but it's too crummy. So we've been staying in. We've been watching some. We kind of really been on British police shows, current day British police shows. And what really has been fascinating to me, we watched one called, I can't remember what it's called, with Martin Clunes. But anyway, the police go out, they chase the guys down, they chase them, they get them in a corner. And I keep thinking, pull your gun. They don't have guns in British police shows. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's lovely. It's so different from American police shows.
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
All the British people, they all work together. There's a little friction from a higher up. A higher up will say, you got to get this done. And the lower guy will say, oh, okay, I'll get it done. And then he goes and gets it done. But they all work together as a team, like real life. But on American shows, it's always a higher up is like, you better get this done or you're out of here. And then there's the underling who is a rebel and does things his own way and has his own justice and so much crap. Hey, did I say crap? It's been interesting noticing between the two, I'd even call them different genres.
Our friends, Audios, have been recommending we watch some of those British crime dramas.
Yeah, very.
Actually.
You would be amazed. I'm sure you, as someone who watches this kind of stuff closely, you would be amazed how different they feel because of those two things: no guns and working together. Huge. So.
Well, my brother recommended. He told me he was watching The Old Dark Shadows. So
Oh,
I started that up.
that's hilarious.
Kind of into it. They move very slowly though. It is a soap opera. Um, something happens and the girl walks around the room for quite a long time looking like, oh my gosh, what did Barnabas just say? And she's walking around and I'm like, come on, fast forward this a little bit. And then they recount a lot of the story. I don't know if that's because it's a soap and then someone comes in a month late and they kind of like, well, a new character, they're talking, well, when Barnabas came, blah, 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 blah. And they kind of recount the whole story thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, yeah. But I kind of getting into it.
I'm glad. So how far along are you?
Only like 15 episodes. But my brother told me he started at the beginning, and it's called like, you'll see it in two places on Amazon Prime or something. One is like Dark Shadows, the early years, and then the other was like just Dark Shadows or something. Hit the second one, starts at episode 200. And that's Barnabas. Willie is in there and all those famous characters from the movie House of Dark Shadows.
Oh, now how many episodes did they do of that show?
Hundreds and hundreds. And apparently, I read it on Wikipedia, like, it's going to have, of course, the werewolf, Quentin, I think was his name, David Selby, and ghosts, and was talking about how it became popular. Kids get home from school at 3:30 and would watch it with their moms. And John remembers doing that. I remember just vague episodes. And then I was kind of young yet. At the and then the movie I love. We saw the movie in the theater. So.
Yeah, I remember it. My sister watched it, older sister. And I don't remember when. My mom was never into soap operas at all. She never watched any of them. So we were into it a little bit, but I didn't follow it. How many years did it go?
7, I think.
Wow, I never realized that.
Or maybe it's 5.
Did they wrap it up?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand why those were slow, because in those days, and I think soap operas were kind of made for women who were home, working around the house and stuff. You can't have too much action and stuff going on, because if you walk out of the room to take out the dog or move the laundry, you miss stuff. So probably purposely very slow.
Yeah, I find that's true. I'm doing the Last Kingdom about the Wessex and King Alfred and the Viking, the Danes, and all this. And it moves at times slow, where I fast forward stuff because they're filling an hour. But when they're talking about dialogue, the plot and stuff, I look away at my phone and then I realize, okay, that was important what they just said. I have to rewind it.
Yeah.
Because it'll go pretty quick with the content of the story and stuff like that. And then the action scenes, of course, are all big,
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like this show where you can fast forward through like the first 10 minutes as Jeff and Dave banter about stuff that's not related to ASL. But
anything new in my house, Jeff?
That very, very fine print there. Is that
a print?
Is it a lithograph?
It's the original painting.
Out. Oh, this is the one that Rex Martin.
It is now in the possession of the two half squads.
Oh my
in
gosh.
honor of all the ASL players in the world. It is now ours collectively.
Wow. That is fantastic.
I think it's a watercolor. Yeah, it's done on a watercolor board.
Put it under the faucet and see.
Yeah, there's no bumpy paint like on my Boromir. You can actually see lumps of paint and stuff. It's all just very smooth watercolor, and so you can see where Rex. So, yep, we did the deal.
That's amazing. Now, are we going to frame that? When I say we, I mean you.
I don't know.
I think it should be framed. I think it should be.
I like.
Enshrined.
I like where the paint goes over the edge. I could still frame it showing the edge, I suppose.
I was always amazed. I used to really like to look at Salvador Dali, and I like to look at art books and stuff. But in art books, all the art is the same size because they size it to fit the page. Then you go to the art museum, and I remember this about Dali. I went to the Art Institute of Chicago, and you find the one with the burning giraffes, you know, and you look and you go, excuse me, sir, where is the Dali with the burning giraffes? It's right over there. Go down the hallway, and it's like a postcard.
It's teeny. Yeah, right. Some of his stuff were teeny.
I was expecting it to be like this big, huge thing. No.
But he has done huge wall-sized paintings also.
Yeah, I like those better.
Yeah, he's all over the place with that. So,
incidentally, the show I was watching on with Martin Clunes was called Manhunt. I highly, highly recommend it. It's on Acorn and Acorn streaming service, which is British television. You can get it through Amazon.
Oh, like Amazon Prime?
Yeah, and it's only 2 seasons. It's that's all they're going to do because it's based upon the real life experiences of British cop. And it covers 2 cases, but it's absolutely brilliant. As they say, across the big pond.
Excellent. I'm sure Laura would like it too.
Yeah, I think she would. I'm sure she would. Guess what time it is, Dave? What have you been playing lately? What have you been playing lately?
That's what time it is.
You can tell I've been practicing.
I have been practicing. And what have you been playing lately, Jeff?
I should ask you that question.
Okay. I'll try not to make you violently ill by moving my camera for you people listening at home and not on YouTube. I'll try to name X's or something here. But this is Hey, Ain't That a Rock? And it's the big boards. The North Korea, the Brown, it came on over there. The story is the Americans entered back here along this road, and a forward group that are now up there and they're in the woods in a melee. So that forward group is getting surrounded, trying to come also from the back over here, and from the side, shooting over there. I thought I could exit this board 37, and then of course read the conditions, and you can't get points that way. You have to exit 50, so I'm shifting the rest of the reinforcements. Instead of moving straight, they're going to have to shift over and exit over here. Americans are over here too. Trucks, they were along the road, so they were moving on. There were some North Koreans up on the hill, up there, third level hill. Now I've pushed down into these woods and trying to get points. So there's a lot of action in different areas of the board.
Sorry, which scenario was this and from where?
Hey, Ain't That a Rock? Okay. ROK, Republic of Korea, from the Korean War module. And it's neat in that, again, you're both just trying to score points exiting and casualty points.
Ah, okay.
So, I'm trying to surround those forward groups so I get all those points, not take a lot of casualties, of course. And the Americans got options to exit. How quickly do they pull back to safely exit more points than the North Koreans? The North Koreans, I think it looks like they started with, we wrote it down, 98 points, and the Americans have 71 points. So if the Americans just pull out, the North Koreans will win by exiting more points. So they got to do some kind of fallback defense.
Yeah.
And not get surrounded. And I really surprised Dave. I moved down along the river on the right side of the board from this viewpoint. This is from Dave's viewpoint. which is empty. You know, it's a dry gully.
Oh, okay. Yeah, saw
So
that.
I jumped some groups in there and ran down that gully right around the mountain as he was trying to hold the mountain force in place. And then when he saw me getting behind, and then the last minute he realized a mortar in the back up on a hill could see down into there, and I had a stack of 3 with a leader. And luckily, when he saw it, he didn't see it in the movement, and I didn't either. Then when he saw it in the prep, he missed and no rate. And I was like, okay, I got to get out of here now.
Yeah.
So then those forces could come up out of the river and try to come around and cut them off. Half of them are going up to cut off the group on the big hill, and half are still moving forward to try and plow into the next set of Americans. So really, we got like 3 different little battles going on, all kind of fun.
Very cool. Did the Koreans have some vehicles also? You said the Americans had some trucks they could use.
Yeah, trucks and Jeeps, I tried to blast those as quickly as I could, and Dave wanted to just get them out so I couldn't get the points for them. So most of them already have started to exit the board, and he's not using them to transport people on, because you know how easy it is to lose. If you shoot a truck, you only have to roll like it depends on your firepower, but like a 7.
Yeah.
And then there's crew survival is, none in some cases.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can lose a lot of points. So he's staying on the ground now, running backward.
It's tempting though.
It's tempting.
Tempted to utilize those trucks in that way, but it's
risky, Yeah, I think a really good player with trucks could figure out a way to probably load up safely at some point, maybe like behind a hill ridge or behind a woods, and then start to exit at the end game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
so, that's what I've been playing lately. I know you finished
fantastic.
up. You finished up Space Empires, and you didn't have anything else going on.
Yeah, I've got thing going on right now. We're just getting ready for our next game, and I'm hoping you and I can get together in the very near future and put some on. You've got room on your table for another game to go side by side?
Yep, right over on the left side. And the 12th, we're going to get together for that miniatures fantasy game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. We'll put that on top of the table.
Okay, excellent.
Making good use of it. So
yeah, that's great.
And is it time for rules?
I think it is.
Time for rules. You know the rules to play the game. Enter your opponents to shame. They might seem hard, but that's okay. We're gonna learn them anyway.
Rules. Today is 12.1 concealment. I'm going to start, Jeff, if you'll so allow me.
Please proceed.
To read the 12.1 definition. Concealment refers to a condition in which, now the rest is maybe a real example of how there's too much verbiage for the beloved authors of our beloved game. And you know how rarely I am critical, Jeff.
Yes.
But listen to this. Concealment refers to a condition in which units are not seeing other units in play, even though the omniscient player can see the physical presence of counters and hex. To stimulate an opposing unit's ability to see units, a concealment counter is placed above units so to hide their true nature and provide them with several pertinent advantages. Now, I don't think we need the word pertinent. We don't need the word omniscient play. I understand what they're doing, but again, it's a rule book. And isn't there a shorter way just to say concealment does?
I don't know. When you read it like that, it makes me kind of warm and fuzzy inside. Because reading the book is sometimes just a very comforting thing to do. Because you feel the precision that they were to achieve, which they did 90% of the time. Yes, it get overwhelming, but it's also very, very admirable, especially as somebody like me who's a programmer. I have databases and stuff like that. So I admire precise alignment of words and thoughts. Proceed.
Absolutely. So the question for you first up is: may a unit be concealed more than once at any one time?
Wow. That's a wild first question. I don't think that's ever come up. Why would that? No.
Why would you?
I'm gonna
No.
say no. I mean,
Yeah,
what
there's-
did you make that question, or is that in
No.
the rules?
No, it's in the rules. I think sometimes people have concealed a squad and a question mark counter. Then during the concealment phase, maybe they would think that they could put another one on, another one, and build up dummies on top of a squad. But
So
no,
it might mislead the other player as to how many counters there were there.
correct.
Well, okay.
Now, though one or more dummy counters can be placed atop units, this is when you have all concealment counters, the question marks. Although one or more dummy counters can be placed atop units, generally speaking, okay, then my comment here is that this must be referring to different times in the game.
Yes.
One or more dummy counters, they just said you can put one on at any one time. So then I think clarifying that if you lose concealment later on, you can get it again by saying one or more dummy counters can be placed top units. Now, generally, concealment loss can occur due to an action formed while in the line of sight of good order enemy ground unit, where concealment gain can be denied in the line of sight of an unbroken enemy ground unit. So, does the previous sentence?
So you good order at first, and then just unbroken.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Note the distinction. Good order for concealment loss, but broken denial of concealment gain. And again, I'm thinking, why? Why just be the same?
Yeah.
If it's the same, I might can remember it better. And I'm trying to logic it out. Good order means not in a melee. It's saying being good order to have someone lose the concealment. So I was thinking, well, they're not in a melee, they're looking around better. But then it's like unbroken for the denial of gaining concealment.
So if they were
If they're
of a squad and in melee, they could not. They would lose concealment.
When they see people. So when you see an enemy unit coming, you have to be in good order to cause them to lose their concealment.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Actually,
if
I'm actually kind of surprised how complicated this is already.
Yeah. Again, I was thinking, why not just have a good order for gain and loss, so that you never have to deal with it.
It'll never work, Dave. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Ruin the game.
A vehicle has neither inherent crew nor passengers nor riders is considered broken for concealment gain loss purposes. I'm just teaching you this. I was struggling with the writing again. A vehicle that has neither an inherent crew, passengers, riders is considered broken. Isn't there say
a vehicle manned a crew and nobody else is considered broke? I don't know. I don't know if that's any better.
Just a vehicle counter.
Oh, that might be.
I could have it here, I guess.
Say a non-abandoned vehicle counter. Because if
say
because vehicle counter be abandoned by the driver, by the crew, but still have riders in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But should you say neither? A vehicle that has neither this. No, is it in the positive? Anyway, I'm going to go on to some questions now from the 12.1 known dummy enemy unit. Is a unit, Jeff? Is a unit or stack of units beneath a concealed counter? Is that a known enemy unit? No, that is unknown. That applies to situations like when you route, it has to be toward can't be toward a known enemy unit, which means you could route toward dummy count, concealed.
Or yes.
And this concealed stack is inspected by the opposing player.
No way. Not unless you want your fingers broken.
Yep. Or when they leave the room to go to the bathroom, like
Yeah.
I do when you're gone to the
Yeah.
bathroom. If a hex contains both concealed and unconcealed units, which one should be put on the top?
Well, I guess the unconcealed unit should be put on top. Yeah.
Yes, because if they're on the bottom, they become be concealed. Kind of.
Some play with larger boards. You can put them side by side.
Mm-hmm. Or your historical boards are often larger.
Yes. Right.
And your deluxe boards are the largest of all.
Yes.
Now, if it's a scenario allocates a number of conceal counters, question marks, available for sub at the start of the scenario, they're in the OOB, can those be placed atop each other to act as a dummy stack?
Yes.
Yes. Now, do you think the other half squad on the show is a dummy?
No.
Very good answer.
I think he's a very good leader.
Would that be most of the time, or some of the time, or none of the time?
All the time.
May a stack of dummies containing no real unit be moved as if it contains a real unit?
Yes.
Yes. Even to the extent of being able to move the leader or double time movement factor bonuses?
This one I also forget, but I think they can move even as if they had a leader.
It's true, and I never. Shouldn't we be doing all the time? Because you'd be gaining movement.
Yeah.
Just pretend it's a leader.
Right.
I'm gonna have to doing that, but it does say yes, but it is removed.
The smart opponent, if he could see, if he knew where your leaders were. If he'd seen your leader already and knew where they were, and then started moving dummy stack, 8 hexes, say. Well, 6 hexes.
6 or 8 with double time.
Yeah, double time. He would know it's a dummy stack back then.
Yes.
He knows you don't need more leaders. So that stack must be dummy. Follow me?
Yes.
Okay.
But then would that be cheating if you're trying to do that and further?
Well, I know. Let's think. Let me think. Liar, pants unfair. She's never prosper. Stole mother's pocketbook. I can't remember. I can't. No.
Well, it does say it's removed if it moves without assault movement or into open ground in the line of a good order enemy. Yes, that's when you remove conceal mounted. Have you? Speaking of dummies, have you listened to the test dummies?
Long ago, I did.
I like them a lot.
I know they are not a favorite of yours, but you admire them.
They're up there.
Yeah.
A 5/8 inch dummy stack can, just telling you, be claimed be an emplaced gun if you want to, but then can a 5/8 dummy stack claim to be a vehicle?
I have never used a 5/8 inch stack.
Only after I saw it at the tournaments. I was like, oh, you can just switch these to 5/8 inch.
Yeah, so in the order of battle, if they give you a dummy counter, you can do 5/8 inch. I feel like I have never even read the rule book.
Well,
I'm so glad we're going through these.
Again, yeah.
I had no idea. You could just swap out for 5/8 inch.
Yeah, so take 2 out, take in 2 5/8 inch stack them together. Looks like a vehicle.
Yeah.
Concealed. So then don't know where the tank is.
So your question is, can they act as a vehicle? And you just answered the question. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's treated like a half dummy stack for concealment loss purposes. Now before announcing,
What about movement?
yeah, I guess it can
They
be.
can move like
Start up 1, turn 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can kind of make it act like an in-place on by moving it.
Yeah.
Now, before announcing any mine attacks exposed by the movement of a stack topped by a concealment counter, so it's not saying dummy stack, the defender may force the attacker momentarily reveal a non-dummy unit in the stack. Then it shows you got actual people there.
Right.
Okay. So then if you can't, so don't, as soon as he moves in there, the conceal stack, don't say, oh, that's my 6, firepower line field. Make him show something first, and then so.
I'm sorry, Dave. I have to ask you a question.
Mhm.
Let's go back to the 5.8 inch counters as an in-place gun. I've got 2 concealment counters stacked together as a gun that I put on the board. I've got another gun over here. It's under concealment counter. So there's a concealment counter, a gun, and a crew there.
Oh yeah, how? I guess you'd have to put a concealment counter, a small one in there, to look like a crew.
Yeah.
That's a point.
You could use one concealment counter to do that.
Yeah, you can change the size of them how you want.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good point.
That's perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So now, if your guy that moves into your mine fields cannot show that it's an actual stack, or if stack is friendly to the defender, the dummy stack is removed when they move into the mines. Yeah, and it even says, or the stack's friendly to the defender, and I'm like, who would move into their own mines? I guess that means if you move in your own mines, you have to remove your own stack of dumps, and I guess that means that the enemy knows their mines there then. So how does that play out? I'm wondering if you move into your own mines, then I guess you forgot they there, which is kind of common for me.
Yeah, me too.
If you forget they're there, then how do you remember to make yourself reveal? But anyway, that's the rule. That's the rule. Maybe like later, the other guy goes into mine and he can go, hey, you moved your dummy stack right there. How about pull the dummy stack off the table then, or show me what's in there? I don't know. Can dummy stacks, question, Jeff, can dummy stacks be created only during the initial setup?
Yes.
Correct. But what about be designated concealment counters in the reinforcements part? They're not going to be. So when are they created? If they're listed down.
So they're where there are dummy counters actually listed with reinforcements.
Yeah, it says like 10 or turn 5.
Yeah, well, they have to come in with those units.
Yeah, set them up at the start of the end turn. Are dummy stacks created by a bad educational system, or is it by genetics? Is that nature or nurture?
Well,
Dummy
I'm
stacks.
glad you asked that question, Doctor.
Is that enough with dummy jokes?
I think I'm a little uncomfortable with the word dummy.
Okay.
Well, if we could just change that in rule book something, maybe intellectually challenged.
Yeah. Multiple teaching this now. Multiple concealed units can combine into a concealed stack, but you gotta take off top question mark from all the other counters, right? You can't. So if you have like a stack of 3 dummies and a stack of squads and a concealment counter and another two squads and a concealment counter. They go together. I don't leave both of those concealment counters on the top of that stack.
Right.
Pull it off right there.
Yeah.
Only one. So question: may a concealed stack under a single concealment counter then split and move in 2 different stacks?
Before we get that, let's go back to that previous one. So let's have 2 squads and a concealment count, and a dummy stack comes up and joins them.
No, the dummy stack. Okay, I'm gonna say you can't do that.
Yeah, I guess maybe you'd lose the 1 counter. You'd end up with
You cannot have more than one concealment encounter with a stack of real things.
Okay.
Never ever combine a dummy stack with a real stack. There has to be 2 real stacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I'm going to have to really pay attention.
Well, you've never done that.
I have to.
You've never taken a dummy stack and put it on top of a stack.
I never have done it, but I can see it would come up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, unless you set in the rules, you can do it. You don't like the one on top. So when you do that, you separate, because the answer to that's yes. You separate the 2 squads, and you just tell your opponent to look away, and then you cover up the new one with a new question mark.
Yes.
And start moving them different directions.
Yes.
May an unpossessed port weapon retain a concealment counter?
No.
No, you're correct. If you drop your gun on an ambush, then you lose the consent on it.
Yeah.
Teaching moment. Roll 12.12. Placement. Remember how you would place your concealments? Do you remember kind of that goes at the beginning of the game?
Oh, well, the person setting it up on board.
And then out of the vision of your opponent.
Right.
And then after he sets up, you can put question mark onto the board, but only ones that he is given an OBB.
Right.
Yeah. And then, and that can be in terrain listed in red. That's your concealment terrain.
Right.
And then after that, right, then I set up in the same manner. The unconcealed unit then of both sides, which is outline a side of each other, can be covered up with
Yes.
all the concealment counters you need to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a distance thing here with 16 hexes of it,
Yeah.
or greater than 7 hexes away from all enemy, even in line on a side, may have a concealment counter not designated, an OBB put on it.
Okay.
So therefore, if one side begins no forces on board, the other side will be able to place dummies concealments on all of his non-enemy units. That's the part, right? When guys went on from off board, you cover up everything with a question mark.
Yeah.
So then thereafter, okay, after that, may a concealment counter be placed on top of any non-concealed good order stack before it enters the map board for the first time. So you don't have any OB given question marks, but you're going to enter for the first time in 3 or whatever. Can all those entering units be concealed?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Try to remember, cover up everybody, enter the board. Of course, you're moving, you usually lose it anyway.
I paused there for a second because I thought, well, of course I know this. Of course I know this. But why are you asking me the question, trying to trick me? I paused.
No, I just take sentences and rules.
Yeah, I know how to. I know how to do that.
Make come in questions. During play, an entry unit can gain concealment only if it is non-concealed already, and does it have to then be in good order or bad order to then gain the concealment?
It's to be in good order.
That's correct. If it's in bad order, does it get an after-school detention?
Some type of corporal punishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And can it gain concealment at the end of its own player turn, or any player turn? We want to gain it.
Yeah, it's going to be the player's turn.
Correct. Yes. Can a unit ever gain concealment while broken or berserk?
No.
That is correct. Why?
Because they're broken or berserk. Only your unit can gain concealment.
Because the unit is not in good order. So then there's this thing called the concealment loss game table, which if we were on Zoom, I might be able to put it up behind me now. Just why I really want to try to use Zoom. My computer, as you guys listening know, is sometimes garbled a little. We've been recording on Zoom, my computer. But A12.121 concealment gain loss table. How do you read this thing, Jeff?
Well, you have to Yes, first refer to the upper left-hand corner and decide if your units, the units in question are HIP.
And then is it going to be lost?
Yeah, that's for is concealment lost or gained. If it's under a HIP counter. So if you're wanting to know if concealment is lost, like in that first one for infantry in concealment terrain, there are 4 cases where it is lost, the A, B, C, and D, and you just refer to the A, B, C, or D down below. It's as simple as pie.
It's as simple as pie. And some of the categories are non-applicable. So like in the same box, you have over there, the ABCD is line of sight from the nearest good order or unbroken enemy ground unit. Oh, the good order's in red, and that's the HIP is lost is in red. And the ABCD is in red. Look, I never noticed that.
I never did either.
So you have to be good order, as we found out earlier. Look at that.
Yeah, so you have to be good order to gain or to
lose.
Yeah, because you're in line of sight of a
good order. But if they're unbroken, so they could be in a melee, they could still deny you from gaining, which you can't do anyway if you're infantry in concealment terrain less than or equal to 16 hexes in line of sight of a good order or unbroken enemy ground unit. No gaining.
Right.
Not in concealment terrain, can't either. And then the cases are listed as I. Most of these are A, B, C, D. Well, and placed guns have a G and an F. And then down below you read the case number. So handy dandy chart you're going to want to use. And you're not going to want to have to write all this up into the rules section, because it's not in there. Also has the concealment die roll modifiers for gaining it and searching on the bottom. Anything else we need to know about that chart?
No, it's one of those things where you're going to have to look at the chart, take it with you on vacation.
Yep.
Read it.
Look at it and read it. There's no reason not to. All right, then that covers rule 12.12. The concealment die roll. There are 2 instances when a die roll must be made to determine if concealment can be gained. These are the unit that's within 16 hexes of an unbroken ground unit, not in concealment terrain, out of the line of sight of all unbroken ground units, or an infantry unit that's beyond the 16 hexes that we saw on that chart. 17 or more hexes away kind of changes that up, and you roll a die to gain it. And there's some modifiers to that on a chart. The unit size modifies it. The leadership modifies it. If you're lax, the TEM hindrance die roll modifier of a location occupied, and if you're stealthy. And then I think I'm going to finish up by reading this little section. It's an example that's given on the rule 12.122. So, for example, at the end of a player turn, a Russian squad, half squad, a hero, and an 8 neg 1 leader occupy an open ground location out of the line of sight of all unbroken German ground units, but they're still within 16 hexes of 1. Case K of this concealment table would apply. So on an original die roll of 4, the squad would fail to gain concealment because you're trying to roll your unit size number. So in their example, the 4 is the die roll plus the 3 for the unit size number minus 1 for leadership. Does not equal 5 or less. You need to gain it on a 5 or less. On an original die roll of 5, the half squad would fail to gain concealment because 5 is the die roll plus 2 for the unit size. So the half squads have a unit size of 2. The full squads have a 3. It's the number of people depicted on the counter. That makes it nice and easy. I love that.
For once.
Yep. And then minus your leadership. So as would the leader. If he rolls a 5 on his die roll, plus 1, because he's got 1 silhouette on his counter, does not equal 5. And he can't use his own leadership modifier on himself to gain concealment. So since the leader can never modify his own die roll, the hero gains concealment automatically, even on a die roll of 6. How is that? Well, a die roll of 6 with plus 1 for his unit size number, 1 silhouette, and minus 1 for the leader, and a hero is stealthy.
Okay, so the leader does modify his own.
Hero, the heroes.
The hero does. Yeah.
The leader's modifying the hero.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
I see what you're saying.
Leader and a hero in the stack.
Together. Okay.
So the leader's modifying the hero, and the hero's always stealthy, an extra neg 1. So that's how it always happens. Now, if the same example were to occur in an open ground hex with a dispersed smoke counter, the highest original die roll gaining concealment in each case would be increased by 2.
Let's go back just for a second. So a leader, a hero, and a squad walk into a bar. No, a hero, a leader, and a squad trying to gain concealment would be 3 die rolls.
Each one has to roll separately, yes.
One roll separately.
To gain.
Yeah, I do that so rarely. I forgot that.
Yeah, Dave.
Usually it's just one at a time.
Tibbin and I try and remind each other, concealment gain, concealment gain.
Yeah.
Because in my early days, I didn't want to mess around with concealment gain.
Yeah.
So.
But it can be very effective, obviously. So.
Yes, now we do it as a pretty much matter of course.
Yeah.
So this will pick up with rule 12.14 when we return next week, next month, next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Sounds like a plan.
Super.
Well, that's great.
That wraps up episode 295, I think this is, Dave. Is that right?
Is this 295?
Yeah, wow.
Crazy. Where did the time go?
I don't know.
Yeah, 294 was Rex Martin.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, all right, folks. Well,
thanks
for listening.
Yeah. Remember to join us again next time for another exciting episode of the 2 Half Squads.
Yep. Remember to roll low and rally well, but not when you're playing us.
Okay. By the time we get to episode 300, we're going to have that very smooth.
Well, it's easier when we're live in person.
It is. We got to get back into that. It's time.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Next show. How about next show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I can't do my fancy backgrounds.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there are advantages to doing the videos in that way.
And if we have a guest, but we got to try.
We'll figure it out. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.